So I got a call the other day from a friend of mine who works for an agency, and he said, I have someone you have to meet. I think you'll really click. She's very interested in what you do with Meet the Biz and about Performing Arts Studio West, and she'd love to connect. And so we met via Zoom, and I fell in love. She is a stunning spiritual soul with a heart of gold and a breathtaking actress whose each moment is so full and overflowing, and someone you've seen her and you can't keep your eyes off her. Her credits include Harry and Meghan, A Royal Romance, The Sinner, My Spy, Luke Gage and Jessica Jones, You're the Pest, Fantasy Island, CSI New York, The Unit, Parisa Fitz-Henley. Hello.
Hi. It's Parisa, but I'm so sorry. And it was so wonderful.
Oh my God, and that was one of the things I was gonna ask beforehand, because one time I did this before where I said the name wrong and I got so embarrassed.
You shouldn't be with me anyway.
Well, 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 that's how I felt meeting you the first time. I just all of a sudden it was like, hello. Don't we know each other from a past life or something?
I know and that happens. That sometimes, because my name actually it's an unusual name, and so it's, often people will say it in different ways, and I have people in my life who I've actually known who started out saying Parisa and then moved to Parisa because so many people will say that to them. So like, I'm fine with it. To me, I'm like, hey, if it's the sentiment, like it's how it's said that really matters. But then I always want to correct people right away so that they don't feel bad that they've done it. Because I always want to say people's names correctly, and I don't always say their names correctly. So,
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for that.
Parisa.
Parisa.
Like Teresa with a P, if it helps to remember it that way.
Okay, thank you. That is lesson number 1. Always be sure you have the name correct. And you are an amazing and beautiful soul. You have been to Jamaica, Florida. You've lived there in South Africa, New York, Los Angeles. Do you have a favorite?
I have different favorites. I mean, for me, Jamaica is my heart, and I could cry right now. Just, I miss it a lot. I love it. It's a challenging place to live at different times. But I guess so everywhere has its own challenges. Cape Town in South Africa was an incredible place. For some reason, it was the only place where I felt it was easy to have a very balanced life. But it's also a life that, that is a place with a lot of complications and contradictions. And so it's a life where, living in the city in particular, for me at the time, I still had to be really mindful. But yeah, I mean, there are just different places. I like places that have a lot of different influences in one space. So the Caribbean, South Africa are places that have lots of that.
Right. Now you said something that led me to, you said a balanced life. How is it coming from there and then knowing, well, what we think we know about Hollywood and the business? How is it the balance of that compared to this?
Well, I'll say living in Kingston, Jamaica, for example, Jamaica is a place that has had a tremendous amount of talent come out of it. In particular, in music, obviously everyone knows Bob Marley and Beanie Man and Sean Paul and countless other musical artists. You also have incredible visual artists and dancers and athletes and the Reggae Boys, the football team, world football team. You know, there's just there's a lot of talented, you know, prominent people. There are a lot of them in one small place, and people are very used to it. So you kind of grew up going, like, Beanie Man was apparently forced to be one of my friend's date at our graduation, like high school graduation dance, because her father was friends with him. Beanie Man's he was a world famous star at the time, but he was like kind of standing there like, you know, clearly it was done as a favor. I mean, and we're all around. Some of the people's dates are in like polo shirts with a necktie on it. You know, they're like 15-year-old guys, and here's this guy, and people are just kind of like, oh, that's Beanie Man, that's cool. So that was a place where there was I think a really healthy appreciation for what people do, but not a big celebrity worship culture. And coming up there, that I think that gave me a good sense of how, no matter what you're doing, how prominent a role you play on the world stage, you're still a human being, and a bunch of people know your business and know your flaws and stuff. So, you know, you kind of roll with that. But yeah, I mean, being Hollywood it's definitely its own animal. And there are a lot of challenges in it. There's a tremendous amount of ego bolstering that happens in it, and a tremendous amount of anxiety around that, and protecting the facade that you've created. And, you know, it's challenging in that way, but it's also a great place to practice balance, which, you know, I think we're all doing.
Yeah. It's so interesting because, especially, I mean, you started as a model, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you, of course, flowed into the acting. What made you, growing up in that balanced place, want to go into this business?
You know, it wasn't actually the business I wanted to go into. I wanted to be a doctor when I was a kid. I did, and then I as a teenager really kind of how would I put this? I mean, off the rails. I don't know. I struggled a lot in high school with how I felt about myself. Dropped out of high school after essentially not going for a very long time. Officially dropped out multiple times. You know, and ran with a rough crowd, and really just I just wasn't very loving to myself for a while, and I really lost a lot of ground in school, in particular with chemistry. And I thought, you know, if I can't do chemistry, I'll never be a doctor. And so I give up. And when I did decide to go back to high school, which was in Jamaica, so I had been in Florida before, moved back to Jamaica and finished high school. Then I was really ready to focus, but I felt there was no way that I would catch up in chemistry. That was the one thing. Yeah. Like I had a class that was human and social biology, which was essentially like principles of it was like public health and anatomy. It was a delicious 2-year class, and I loved it, but I was like, I'll never be a doctor because I can't do chemistry. So I decided I wanted to be a teacher like my parents. And just before graduation, was invited to take part in a modeling competition in Jamaica. And I thought, well, this could be a cool opportunity. And one of my best friends was doing it. So, or actually she was a friend who became my best friend through the process. And so we did it together and had an amazing time. And I won a a modeling contract and a trip to Europe and New York, and so I said I'll give this a few years. If it works, great. If not, I'll just go back to school, and it kept working. Yeah,
Thanks
it
for
wasn't.
us. Thanks for you and for us, because you just have I watched one of your films last night, and every moment you're just like, you know what I'm talking about? You're just, I mean, you're just so there.
I'm trying. I'm really trying. I being present as an actor is really important to me, and I love it when I see other artists do that. So I'm trying, and it's a constant practice, because I mean, it's hard to be present in real life. So it's not necessarily easy when you're saying someone else's words and you're in front of cameras and stuff. But I do find that this industry and this art form it really invites you to keep checking into yourself and keep accepting yourself, like keep practicing that, which I think is the reason why a lot of people who struggle with presence or struggle with self-acceptance are drawn to it. There's this kind of stereotype that actors are like all about me, it's all about me and the surface and stuff, but I think what happens is that's the veneer that's over a lot of either personal struggle or personal just investigation.
Yeah.
And that's the protective shell that hopefully you keep going through your life, and little by little you chip away at that, or let it hopefully dissipate, hopefully permanently. I'm sure, like, it's like everything in life, you kind of got to keep polishing the mirror of yourself.
Right.
Gets dusty.
Well, it's so interesting too, especially working at Performing Arts Studio West and connecting with the amazing actors and performers there, and then reminding myself when I see them, climbing the ladder or flying to their next journey in their creation, if that makes sense. I see that you're coming. I mean, I even wrote down, you seem to be a very spiritual person, and spiritual seems to be really connected with self and being good with yourself and taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm trying. I think maybe I guess it's not a humble opinion if I'm thinking about other people, but my opinion anyway is that we're all spiritual beings.
Right.
And life is kind of about discovering just how much we are.
Right.
Because I mean, even we're born into this world like fresh and juicy usually, and then we expand and expand and expand, and then we like literally start to wither away until we go. But as our bodies wither away, our inner self continues to grow, and I feel like that's the part of us that is eternal, and just continues to develop as the body kind of goes away. And so I do think that it's a process. Like I think our spirit is our true self, our soul is our true self, but that the bodies we're born into, the temperaments that we develop, the experiences that we have in life are about our, they're all there for our spirit's education. Yeah. So whether our failures, our successes, which are both perceptions anyway, because I mean, I don't know, for myself, some of the best things in my life have come from some of the very, very worst things. Like that's just the way that life kind of works on you. And so I'm trying to be a spiritual person. I'm trying to acknowledge it more in my own life.
I really think that, I mean, you're teaching me right now as I'm listening to you about how, growing up wanting to be an actor, quote, the actor, and being on stage and this and that. And as through my journey, I've become more in touch with me. I went through those struggles at one time where it's like, oh my God, I'm not going to be what I thought I was going to be. But thank God, because I'm in such an amazing place right now in my life.
Yeah.
through that journey. So it's, here I'm getting a little emotional again. I get this way once.
Right.
I I see sometimes the struggles of myself in the students as well, and I understand what they're going through. But by hearing what you have gone through, just a little bit of it, it's okay. It's going to be okay by accepting who you are and bringing that into your art.
Absolutely. And I think also really owning that it's art. Forgive me, there's a gnat trying to enter my face.
I think its cousin is in my room.
Okay, perfect. I'll say hi, guys.
Hey, come on.
I think that we have to constantly question what society is telling us is valuable. And it's not society's fault that it's wrong a lot. Society is not it's a growing and changing thing, but it's not, a nuanced being. It's the collective. It's sort of the, like, the average of us as a collective. And so when society goes, society looks and says, Meryl Streep, when I look at her, she's great, she's amazing, and everyone should want to be like that if you're an actor.
Right.
Because that's a very simple way of looking at her. But the thing is, like, if we step back and we really look at the details, what Meryl Streep is very good at is telling the truth of a person and a character. And she's so good at it that it makes us forget that it's not real, which makes us forget ourselves. And then we're so drawn in, it actually even makes it real for us, and we take it with us. And so what if that is the thing that we all want? Because that you can do in your bedroom with your phone.
Yeah.
That you can do in front of one or two people in a life-changing performance in an almost empty theater. Yeah. That is you giving yourself the designation artist.
Now, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Meryl Streep is an artist, and that's why we're drawn to her, because she's true to her art. The kind of average of us that's not nuanced, and, we have our opportunity as individuals to really look at it. The average of us says, she's the greatest, be famous. Yeah. But when we stop and really look at what she's doing, being truthful, being an artist is something every single person can do, and can have that kind of impact even on a one-on-one basis.
Right. Now, how do you, as an artist, how do you come when you play these wonderful roles, whether it's Reba Connors or Meghan Markle or in so many of the roles you played, how do you come from that true place?
There are a lot of different things I do. I mean, I really think like the majority of acting training is just to help you get out of your own way. So, there's training to just, I have a tendency to get nervous, even sometimes at the most, certainly the most inconvenient times, but also at times where I'm like, where did that come from? I know this whole thing, I know this whole character, but all of a sudden my nerves will overtake me. So, to be truthful for me in that moment means I have to sometimes practice how to return to my calm self. So it's like meditation has helped me. Being in uncomfortable situations and learning to get through them has helped me, both like as an artist and also just in my life. I try to pay attention to experiences that I'm in my own life so that I can apply them to my work. And that's even making a distinction that's unnecessary, but it's like, like I try to see it all as one thing. I mean, what else helps? Sometimes prayer. I think art, the creation of art is a prayer, but sometimes I need an extra prayer of just like help, because I feel myself getting in my way. Sometimes a really, really effective, really helpful tool for me has been to pray for the entire production, especially for auditions, to just say like, pray for everybody in the audition room.
Yeah.
Pray for the producers, pray that the highest good of that particular production is achieved, and that I can do something to help that happen.
Yeah.
Because really, the energy of trying to get a job or get something right is not a very creative energy.
That's so interesting you said that, because we had the head of the CSA on yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and he said the same thing, in the sense of, don't come in wanting and needing the job. Come in like, hey, let's work together. Let's
Yes,
create.
that's the thing, because the job is all of it.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that breaks my heart is when people say to me, well, I want to be an actor, but I'm not an actor. I haven't acted in so long. You know, and I'm like, no. Once you're an artist, you're an artist. The paycheck, that's the business affairs division. That's their business. And it's the business of the bank. But you in between, like your job, I'm an actor when I'm sitting and watching nature. I'm an actor when I'm people watching, especially when I'm people watching. I'm an actor when I'm experiencing my own emotions and paying attention to it. Like I'm an actor. That's what I do. I create. I'm an artist. Like, if it's not going to come out for me on screen, it's going to come out for me in my writing. Like, I have to honor myself as an instrument. And that is the thing that I think we all really can benefit from. And then when you're in an audition space or something, the ideal, which I still have to practice all the time, but the ideal is to go in there and be like, hi, I'm an artist. I've prepared this for you. This is my take on Jane. You know, this is my take on Tamara. This is my take on Stephen. This is, you know, like, and here you go. Thanks for letting me do my job. The end. And then if they say, you know what, we don't just want you to do that job. We want you to do the job of doing that for the director. Oh, okay. Let me come in and do. So this is what I've prepared. And these are some of the tweaks I made since the last time I did this. What do you think? You like that? Oh, good. My job is done. The next job is, oh, you want me to come and do this for an audience?
Yeah.
Okay. New job. Like, trying to see it that way, I think, is really helpful. And when I sink into that, it helps me a lot, but I forget it all the time.
Yeah.
I have much more like habit built around being like, am I okay?
You still go
Can
there.
I pay my rent? Like,
Oh my God.
So because I have so much more practice in that, I have to continue to really work against it.
Right. I was taking you in when you were saying all this, and all of a sudden I saw, see, there's her teacher, there's her doctor. You have those in your system, in your soul, so to say, that I could see you're such a healer and such a teacher in everything you do.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, what a beautiful thing to say. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank
I
you.
received that.
Oh.
I received that. This is one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my individual life, like just as a human. I learned this from my dear friend, Heather Matarazzo. She's an incredible actor. Oh, she's incredible. She's like the youngest Spirit Award winner ever. And she's been in a ton of things. Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Yes.
That was her, like, that I think is what she won the Spirit Award for, but she's been in a bunch of different things. And a lot of people know her from the Princess Diaries movies. But she's an incredibly spiritual person. And when I first met her, before I knew that we were going to be, you know, the dearest of friends and sisters, I remember her saying, she received a compliment and she said, I received that. And I was like, oh, whoa. Because I think it was, I can't remember if I'd given her the compliment, I might have. Right. But I felt the sense of like the movement of kindness moving into her.
Yeah.
And I think like, and it's such a yummy feeling. It's like, well, yummy. It's like if you make a meal and someone's like, yum, thanks.
Yeah.
And so often we're taught that like it's conceited to receive a compliment, for example, as if the other person meant to send it just to your ego and not to your heart.
Right.
And so what we do is we go, oh, no, thank you. You know, I'm not that. You're that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are. As if both people can't have it going on in the moment. And so like, she taught me to receive that. And I've been thinking about that a lot because it's very, very easy to remember criticism for me, and much more difficult to receive praise. And I'll see praise and I'm like, I love that. That's great. But it's the one person who's like, don't quit your day job, that I'm like,
right.
2 weeks ago, someone said, don't quit your day job. Ow. like literally, I remember this. I deleted it from my Instagram. It's because I was dancing. I was dancing on my Instagram. And sorry?
And that's great. It's like, it's joyful. It brings others joy to see you have joy.
And like my post was about joy, and like, and I was taking a dance class. I wasn't like, this is a routine that I've practiced. I was just like, this is about moving. And the person like, don't quit your day job. Like, I've had many mental conversations with this person in the last few weeks. The thing is, it's very easy to receive that stuff. As you can tell, I still remember it. I have to practice receiving good stuff too. I know people will say like, don't believe the compliments because then you have to believe the insults. I'm going to believe the insults anyway. So I might as well receive when someone who means well says something to me, not just for me, but because they've created a gift.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, I disagree with you. Like, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I've learned too, you know, as the years go on, to go through it, accept what they're saying, but then, okay, and learn from it and move on and know who I am, my core.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing when you have friendships with people who know who you are, when they tell you who you are in the affirmative, you got to store that, because it's like when you create, I think, real, true, solid relationships with people, they kind of carry a little copy of you with themselves. And when you forget who you are, you can kind of go like, do you have that copy? And they can be like, yeah, remember, you're kind, you're better than this thing, you're creative, you're smart. You know, you need those people that you can kind of store copies of yourself with, which is why it's so important to be friends with people who also can receive you at your best. I can also tell you, boy, you're really not doing so well today, or you were really unkind or something, and you can trust them because they're holding like the true image of you with them. And really, there's almost no human in the world whose bad qualities outweigh their good. So, you know, if you're getting more negative feedback from a friend than positive, they're not probably your friend, or they are, but they're struggling with something that's causing them to project a lot of things onto you. So I feel like as an artist, it's really, really important that our relationships reflect our goodness back to us, because our society really, really has a tendency to knock us down,
Right.
From outside and within, because we internalize the way that the society works.
Yeah. God, you know, I added another job for you beside teacher.
Okay.
And
tell me, and tell all the casting directors.
a therapist. I was feeling, okay, I've had my therapy today.
That makes me so happy, because I would say like a good chunk of my income goes to that. So I'm glad it's paying off, you know.
Oh my God. I tell you, it's good to have a good therapist.
Or 10, you know.
Right.
I mean,
I've had a few that were like, but as I look back, but I know, anyway, enough of my therapy. God, I could spend hours with you. I mean, I have all these questions about your different roles, and
I can answer faster.
I know, no, I love this because we're flowing with it, and you know, whatever time we have today, we have, and it's coming. It's such a learning, and it's coming from the heart and learning and the mind. You know, I'm going to jump back when you were talking about Meryl Streep, and you know, I know, right?
Just the name. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Streep, you know, those one Streep, Streisand, you know, Garland, you know. Anyway, and we are brought into Hollywood a lot of those times. When I first came to Hollywood or LA, that first year I was like, still like, who's that? Who's that? So, and I luckily got my mail at a.
I'm remembering embarrassing myself at one point, but that's another story.
Oh, you had that? Well, you know, so I'm going to my mailbox, right? And I didn't even, this is how sensitive I am sometimes. I go to my mailbox, and my heart starts going like this. I'm going, why are you doing that? And then I look up, and I just see the back hair of this gorgeous woman, but I don't see her face. And I'm going, oh my God, is that her? Is that Angela Bassett? And I went, and she turned, and it was Angela Bassett. And I'm like, I'm getting, I know, I read too but I said, I just want to say thank you for what you do. And she was so sweet. She gave this amazing smile and said, thank you. And I was going, and it was one of those moments. So I thought I'd throw that out and mention to you because you mentioned Meryl Streep. I put Angela Bassett there, and I know how much you like Angela.
I mean, listen, we went to the same high school. We grew up in the same little part of Florida.
Yeah.
Gulfport, Florida. So like I grew up in Gulfport and Kingston back and forth. And I remember seeing her yearbook, cause they have them at school, and she's so cute with her Afro puffs, and, and she was in every single organization, and, I'm sure she was an amazing student. I'm also pretty sure she has some sort of restraining order against me because,
no.
I mean, maybe not in real life, but anybody who I know who's like ever worked with her, I'm like, tell her I'm obsessed. Tell her I'm obsessed with her. And then like I've tweeted at her on Twitter, and she doesn't tweet back. So I can't believe you got to talk to her. I don't know if I'm going to be okay.
Oh, please. Well, okay, we've got to talk after this show because you have, I mean, here's the thing. I think she's one of the best actresses around.
She is.
That being said, I also picture you on that stage someday at the Oscars getting an Oscar because you are, I almost said effing. Can I say, yeah, I'll say effing brilliant. You are so amazing from the few things I've seen you in, because I know you've done so much. And just even more than that, your humanity and how you connect it with your work. So that's all I have to say. I'm excited. I'm going to be excited watching that on TV, and maybe I'll be in the audience that year when you get up there, and I'll go, yay!
Thank you. That's so lovely to hear. God willing, I really, I think there's a lot of talk about awards and how important they are and how unimportant they are and stuff. And I think, just trying to do the best work you possibly can, like really trying to seek excellence is something that we're drawn to. And then hopefully, sometimes awards reflect that. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're like, wait a minute, that person was excellent here. That person's pretty good. Why did they win a thing? Right. And that person just got ignored, because we know, with racism and sexism and all of the isms that we're experiencing, sometimes the person who's best for something is overlooked. A lot of times that happens. But I will hold that vision with you. Yeah. And because that'd be really fun. We'll see.
Gosh. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have these questions about all the different, I mean, even Ashley Anderson, one of the students has a question, which I'm going to throw out in a minute, but
Okay.
who just came on was an amazing, wonderful man here, DAMIEN HODGE, and
Damon?
DAMIEN
Okay.
HODGE, and he is Director of Support Services at Performing Arts Studio West, and he is here today.
Hi. Hi. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Look at your background.
I know. I'm hiding from the real room is like maps and kids stuff. It's like a kid's learning room. So, you know, that's what happens when you got kids. You have to give up everything for them. And my man cave is now their study area. So.
Wow, that says lovely things about you as a dad.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be talking to you. I'm such a fan.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I told, of course, everybody that you were going to be here, and Damien said, "What? Who?"
I'm not even listening when he's talking about people, but I heard your name and I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to be there for this one.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
well,
no, Midnight Texas was like my show right there. Yeah, so.
I love Midnight Texas so much.
I know. I like the weird supernatural science fiction-y stuff and
weird.
I mean,
what are you saying?
It's not. I'm not calling you weird. You know, I'm just saying that. You know.
No, I know it is out there.
I love the show. Love the show. I'm so sad that they didn't keep it going.
Oh, I really loved it too, and I like anybody who's a midnighter. I'm like, I love you to your core.
It was awesome. Your character was super dope. I just liked the change, the evolution that you went through from being the Miss Goody Two Shoes, white lighter type, and then you just went dark, and it was just like awesome.
Okay, I'm loving this. Just hearing this.
I loved it too. Man, it was really fun. I would have loved to have seen more of her story, and you know,
me too. It was interesting. Her background was really, you know, getting into her family history, and it was just really interesting. I was hoping that, you know, because she was starting to come out. Starting to come out. And they cut me off at the knees. I was hurt.
They like I always wish somebody would like petition for making a movie or a new one more season.
I just knew that you guys would have gotten Netflixed. You know, that's what I call it when people get picked up by, and it just becomes better when it goes to Netflix because you don't have, you know, the FCC and things like that, you know, where you can say what you really mean and not have to code it for a prime time. But and then what was funny, you know, after that show, you know, I started seeing other things, and one night The Sorcerer's Apprentice was on.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
and I was like, wait a minute, that's her. So yeah, you're awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And I heard that you sought us out, and it wasn't the other way around, which was really, really, really dope because you know, we always try to get people in the industry, you know, to come to the studio and you know, just kind of check us out and see what we're doing. Most people, well, everybody that comes to the studio, once they see it and everything that we're doing, and especially with what we have, they immediately want to be a part of it in some way. And you being very proactive is awesome because we need, you know, more voices in the industry to help us get our performers with disabilities out there, and we really appreciate you for that.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you for what you're doing. I mean, the thing is, I need, this is, I mean, in a selfish way, like I just need the world to be what it actually is. Like I need our art to reflect the world as it is and as it could be. And we're walking around incomplete. Like the industry is incomplete.
They've made a conscious effort to take art away from us, you know, from our kids and learning about art. And, you know, I tell my kids and anybody that'll listen, you know, art, music, you know, things like that. The arts are the things that tie us together as humans. You know, no matter where you are, no matter what your financial status is, no matter what your religious belief is, you know, we all sit down and watch movies and television. We all listen to music. We all dance, you know, to everything. And those are the things that tie us together as human beings. And we've gotten away from that, you know. And
We have.
for our particular population, who was already, you know, looked at as outcasts, it's even harder, you know, to bridge that gap, you know. But you know, when people like yourself who care about humans, you know, step forward, it doesn't fall on deaf ears, and we really appreciate it. And we're always looking for people in the industry. It doesn't matter if you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, on the side of the camera, you know, everybody has a story to tell, and our guys, you know, they want to hear it, you know, because they want to be a part of it in some way.
Well, I'm very honored to just to be here and be able to get to know the organization and hopefully more of the participants, because I mean, there are priceless stories that they have within themselves that are missing they're just missing.
Yeah.
And because of the short-sightedness of our industry, the decision makers in our industry, and you know, and really related to the, you know, the issues around what holds us back as a nation and as a world. We don't understand the value of human life, and we don't understand really what it means to be human and the fullness of it. And so we have this very narrow idea of what able looks like,
Right.
super narrow, and what normal looks like, and all these kinds of, like, there's a societal myth of what we are that's so incomplete and is starving everyone. And one of the things that happens in particular with, I think, with people with disabilities, we don't realize as a whole, as a society, how much people with disabilities have made life infinitely better for everyone. We're not acknowledging the contributions. We're not seeing the pricelessness of inclusion, and it's to everyone's detriment, but mostly to the people who are the most vulnerable, which right now, because they're not being valued enough, are the communities of people with disabilities. And that has to end. Like, the world that we live in is falling apart because of these kinds of attitudes, because we're desperately in need of each other, and we don't acknowledge it. And so I'm really grateful that I think a lot of people in Hollywood right now are really paying attention and trying to change things. I know, like, I recently just met with the partners at my management company who have had a real, how would I say, kind of awakening, have been consulting with their actors, in particular the actors of African descent, Black actors, and a big part of what's been discussed is how are we going to really not just not pay lip service to diversity, but really see ourselves as a group of people who are incomplete until everyone's at the table. And so, you know, my management company, Management 360, started up a group within the management company called Complete 360, which is really about making our management company reflect the world. So anyway, these are some of the things that are on my mind. So I'm really grateful that you all are doing the work that you're doing, and hopefully you'll work yourselves out of a job, because we all really need to be together, working together. And,
well, you know, what I was saying before earlier about, you know, I was planning to go a certain way, and then I broke down. I said, oh my God, it's not going to happen this way. The blessing that I received is this life that I'm living with this extended family that I call family. Performing Arts Studio West, Meet the Biz, the whole community. So I think when more people open up their minds, their hearts, and their understanding that we're all here together on this blue marble, you know, I think it will become better for everyone.
It'll be
I think
so
people
much
just
better.
need to take time to get to know people, you know, on an individual level
Yeah.
instead of, you know, taking the word or words, you know, of leadership, you know, everybody in leadership positions these days, you know, have an agenda, you know, whether it's a personal agenda, agenda or a professional agenda. And, you know, they're losing their humanity in the process. And I think that is the thing that has gotten us to the point that we're in now. You know, social media, you know, has an agenda, you know, for the big Facebooks and everybody has an agenda instead of just sitting down and talking to somebody. And I think that human contact is so desperately needed right now, you know, because the world is just ugly right now. You know, there's a lot of fighting going on, you know, just a lot of venom, just a lot of venom being spewed out there. You know, we have somebody who's supposed to be the leader of this country, and I haven't, you know, he doesn't talk positively about anybody unless, you know, they are licking his boots, and that's not cool, you know.
Well,
I think you have to be open for, you know, criticism, and you have to, that's the only way you're going to grow as a person, is to be able to take that criticism and you know, and process it and just try to be a better person. You know, some people just can't or won't.
I have to say, we have, in connection to the word beauty, we have some amazing, beautiful people here with us today from Performing Arts Studio West that we're having come in right now, and to meet you and to say hello while we're here.
Look
And
at all the
scrolling.
happy people.
There we are. Saying hello to...
Hi.
Lonzo Rod, what's up, man?
What's up, Damien?
How you doing,
Hi,
buddy?
starting to
I'm
see
good.
faces. Hello.
Ashley
Hello.
Lyles.
Hi.
Hi.
Ashley.
Hey,
Hi.
nice to meet you. Hello.
Denise.
Hi.
Sorry. Ashley, were you saying something?
Oh, I just wanted to say that you're very gorgeous.
Oh my goodness, thank you, beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Hi.
I love your role as Meghan Markle, by the way.
Yes,
Thank you.
my mom was watching the movie.
Thank you. It was so fun to do. Hi.
Carly.
Hi, David.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my God,
Ashley.
these beautiful faces. I'm so
Hi.
excited.
What's up, Justin?
This is our
How are you?
family.
Nice to meet you.
How's it
Hey,
going?
nice to meet you. My heart is like so full right now.
Alex. Mark Pulver. Looking like a sportscaster right now.
How you doing, Damien?
Yes.
Hi,
I love
David.
these red glasses. Are
Early.
such a yes.
Hi, Paris.
It's like several people's glasses game is excellent.
I know, right?
I like I can put my glasses on now.
They are very
Now I
fashion
wish I had
conscious.
mine nearby.
Mine are in the car.
There you go. That's glasses.
Glasses upon
These are
glasses.
my night glasses and my day glasses.
See, yeah, I got night glasses too.
Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Hi.
Well, we're all here to just say a little hello to Parisa and this is the family at Performing Arts Studio West and Meet the Biz and I think we have a new family member.
Yay.
Welcome to the family.
Thanks. I'm so honored to just be with a bunch of young artists. It's like my favorite. So like, yay. Thank you. I'm just like so happy to see you all.
Bye.